Hey guys,
Hey
welcome to the
everybody.
trading stream. I'm Ian. This is Alexander. This is part two of an infinite number of parts, probably, of creating game ready AI.
Yep.
And we collected a couple of questions here and some comments that we'd like to kind of address right quick. First of all, from Demir H up on the forums. He's noting that, this is all really basic stuff and nothing had to do with AI and a bunch of other stuff and some wanting to do programming and context and all this stuff. We're getting there. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah.
like the real problem is like
Yeah.
we have to build something from the ground up so that everybody keeps up with everything. We understand that some of you are really advanced and you're like, screw this, we want out, right?
But as we all know, AI is the sum of all of its parts, including its simple float variables and booleans. In
Yep.
fact, booleans are incredibly important to making sure your AI does the thing that you asked it to do, and not the opposite.
So we're going to be, it's going to take some time, but we're working our way through it. We're going to be doing some generalization of the stuff that we did last time. So instead of having, barrels forcibly call things, we're going to start moving into interfaces, and that way we can get some base classes rolling that can then just give us stuff. And then, yeah, we got to start making AI actually do AI things. But it's about setting that framework.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to set it up so that everybody's on the same page, and then we'll keep rolling forward. As for things like programming, expanding out the system, I have an idea, but I'm also not a programmer. I can hack my way through stuff, but I'm going to be talking to some folks and seeing if maybe one of the more advanced ones we do, and it's going to be specifically for AI. I'm not going to say anything right now because it's really, yeah, we'll get there. Also, a couple of questions we got is how would it be possible to ignore actors returned from a context in an EQS trace test? That's not really how the tests are set up. If you wanted to specifically ignore an actor, how do I say? I've done a setup that uses because another comment we got was generators seem pretty broken. I was like, kinda, yeah, they're not doing the thing that they're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
But you can get around it by using context, and I will actually probably through the course of this we will show that. So get all actors of a type. Well, we're going to return all of those actors, but what if I want to ignore half of them that don't have a specific tag? Given that the tag manager isn't operational in 4.9, I don't believe, and it's kind of crazy actually to get into it. I think it's active in main. I'm not entirely sure, but there is a test for it, right? But the problem is we can't edit it, which has been the big deal for 4.9.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a way, and we're going to cover it. So just stay tuned. And would it be possible to get a high-level framework diagram of the AI system?
Yay!
Alex put this together.
I actually made a diagram. Here, do the
He-
full screen thing on it. We'll do the.
What is the full?
Yeah, I was like, man, we need a way of visualizing this so people actually understand why things are doing the things. So, starting off in the top left, the AI controller basically it kind of activates the behavior tree and assigns it to your pawn all at once and says, this is the behavior, this is the pawn, connect the two. And then it can also hold a lot of your variables, a lot of your values. Your behavior tree does a lot, as you can see. So after it's activated, you can see it goes down to dictating the behavior and running functions of your AI character, such as movement, running certain things. And it also can tell your EQS, as it goes off to the right, it'll run to the EQS and say, hey, EQS, give me information. The EQS goes, all right, I get you the info you want. It looks into the world for whatever the object is, filters out, returns the results, and then it sets variables in your blackboard, which your blackboard is, of course, your combined variable list that goes into your behavior tree, and then that determines behavior. And then the AI character and EQS both interact in the world in kind of different ways. Your AI character basically runs functions and activates that thing, and then that thing in turn returns a result. So.
And this is only one breakdown.
This is like the simplest AI breakdown that ever has existed for like the entirety of all of AI.
Because if we start examining this as separate systems, the controller can actually call EQS functions directly in Blueprint and in code, which then can be used to modify the blackboard or raw values in the AI controller. And then the object can, yeah. So this is good flow down. I mean, it was a
The only thing that flows the wrong way is the blackboard flows to the left, and then
yeah. Well,
but
that's fine.
but I tried to put little arrows in there for where I could fit them.
Yeah, and then oh man, well we had a question come through. It was somebody asked Alan Noon, and I answered for him that there was a, you know, what is the purpose of having the AI controller and the character and the blackboard and all this? How is this all interacting? And it was more of a, well, it can interact just about any way you like, but I like to think of it like a real person. Your character is your body, your controller is kind of like your brain, and then your blackboard is your memory, and the behavior tree running up there is like actually your neurons firing in your mind, making
It's
decisions.
Yeah.
Right, taking all that input through perception, your eyes, your senses, grabbing that all in and running with it.
Yeah, and all AI really does break down into perceiving and then deciding and then acting and then perceiving again and then deciding and acting, just kind of
Or
like a real
breaking
person.
in there,
Yeah,
but it's just we start simple, we build our way up until we have something really complicated. If anybody out there is expecting machine learning,
Oh dear Lord,
I'm not creating Skynet.
no,
I'm sorry.
we're making game AI, and if you haven't noticed, most game AI just accomplishes what the game needs you to accomplish and doesn't do creepy machine learning where it learns who you are as a person.
Yeah, and starts buying stuff for you on Amazon. All right.
You're speaking from experience, I think.
No. What's the quote? It's easy to make an AI that kills, but hard to make one that loves.
That's
Emotions
a
are
quote?
hard.
Is that Isaac Asimov?
I think it's Tim Sweeney.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, let's go ahead and jump back into the project. And as you guys remember, we have a dude who does a very simple, he has a stamina / hunger tick down, and when he gets low enough, he'll go hunt down, or he'll just break. Maybe? Did you make any changes?
I didn't make any changes.
He's gonna kill himself. He's bleeding out. He's bleeding out.
Oh.
He's decided. Oh, what is the? Oh, his query is jammed. His
Yep.
query is not returning anything. What's the? Not behavior 3 EQS. Well, you're getting decisions back, man. Why aren't you doing anything? All right, well, let's go ahead and start debugging it. Let's see what we broke on our way out. I will note we did try a quick.
Oh yeah, we did run a quick test just before this, so it's not exactly.
I
the
wonder
same.
if we
check
broke.
check to see if that interface thing that we tested.
Well, the interface
makes
is
it-
gone, but this is compiling because it doesn't have the interface, so that's fine. Behavior tree. Let's go ahead and hit play. And okay, that's interesting.
What's
It's running
Oh.
EQS, find food. Find food is running. We're giving it a move to location,
desired?
but
oh,
it shouldn't be desired object.
move to location.
But why didn't?
I don't know.
Well, let's do desired object.
Because if it's returning an actor, you need it to be an actor that.
Well, it can return either, right? It actually, technically speaking, returns both.
Oh, well, that's true.
So we'll run it again. Because it should just. Okay.
Oh, there it goes. Yeah.
Nom.
It just wanted to mess with us for a second.
Yeah,
Like, psych, bro. I'm not really broke.
I might have not have saved on the way out. Is all.
Oh,
so-
that's true.
That's
Yeah.
something I do. So okay, he's getting hungry and whatever. Now there's no food, as we can see here. He's jammed out since there's no food, and he will eventually kill himself. But that's okay. Okay, so we're back where we left off, and now we can start to. We had an idea about how to make this way more generic. So that way.
And I've actually explained this on the Unreal Slackers channel once. Is the generic AI interaction thing. You want your AI, if you're gonna have like a world full of stuff, you don't want to have to constantly tell it, okay, cast to this, do this, depending on what you've cast to, and then that gets really bogged down. Which is why interfaces are your friends.
Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna create a. Nope, wrong button. I got probably some of you were all excited. Nope, we'll just call it interfaces. just in case we need more than one, go in here. We can create a new blueprint interface. And what do we want to call this one? We'll just, well, it's call it interaction or something like that.
I always call mine is something, like is usable.
Okay,
Since it's a usable object, it is usable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I have dudes with health and I use interfaces for their health and stuff, it's called is alive and
Okay.
stuff like that. Yeah.
All right. So I'm just gonna dock this so we can.
Not that your own ideas for
Right.
Naming conventions are invalid or anything. Those are just my personal ones.
Okay, so we're just gonna call this one use, or what do you want to call it? Use item. That way it's a little easier to find, because if we call it just use, a whole bunch of other crap I think starts showing up. So we'll call it use item, and I think going forward I'm gonna want a new. I think I'm gonna want another function
Mm-hmm.
that is. I don't know. I kind of want to do that reference thing again, because that was really, really useful.
Oh, the reference.
Yeah, like
Neat.
modify.
Neat.
Yeah, modify my stat, so that way the AI can choose what stat it's gonna modify. I'm not sure. We'll stick with use item for right now,
Mhm.
so that we can just simply call everything through here. So this is gonna get implemented on our base food class. So if you come in here, and you have something selected,
Mhm.
all we got to do is go up to class settings here on the top, and interfaces over here on the side, implemented. We can pull down and we go is usable. Okay, compile and save that. And if I remember correctly, you were just saying something about, like, if I go in here and I try to find, what do I call it? Use item. Use. No, well, there it is. It doesn't have a description, but we do have the event for it, so whatever. We have our event, which will come from somewhere, mainly our character, and that'll be awesome. But the problem is that we're having the barrel decide that something has overlapped it, and it's saying, hey, you're an AI character, cool, I'm going to give you a bunch of health. Yeah, this needs to go away.
Mm-hmm.
So now our dude is now unable to eat. So that's where this event use item is going to come into play. We're going to put the overlap, collision, use functionality actually on the AI.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to need to add variables to the event as well, so we can pass through who the user is.
Mm-hmm.
So, but for right now, just the plain event works
Yep.
for getting it done.
I mean, we could, yeah. I mean, because we want the item to pass back to us what it's doing for us, not have the character just simply say, oh, I'm healed by touching a barrel.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go ahead and we'll use this interface to do that. And I'm going to keep this here for right now, because this will be useful. I mean, arguably, we could just literally do this right now. And
We would need an object to go into the cast.
yeah, so we'll do that. Our object will be, actually, do we need an object? I mean, because we could say, come on, new input. We could say AIS character. We could do that, but then
we're limited to.
then only characters could use this.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, are we thinking that we want to have a weird interaction upon interaction? Like, do I want my barrel to be able to interact with a wall? Not really. Like, that can be handled under normal collision stuff. I can't think of anything that's going to be not a character. So even if we were to say, create a cat, it's not a dude, it would still inherit from AIS character. It would just have different desires than a humanoid character.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we could actually just go ahead and say AIS character in this case.
And so that way it guarantees anything that inherits from that is going to go ahead and be in that.
Yeah.
So that's
that way
cool.
we can just
Yeah,
pass
that
it
works.
ourselves, and then we don't have to recast for it, because we're already, as far as I understand with interfaces, we're already casting on the back end. So why add in two casts if I can just pass myself in through it?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So that'll add that, and if we try to hook this up, it'll probably tell us this thing is already this thing. Yeah, that's what the warning says. Warning, AI character is already of type AIS class. You don't need a cast to this.
Yep, exactly. So now we can skip the casting entirely.
Yep.
And it just is one node fewer that we have to deal with.
Yep. There we go. And with that, so this base item is saying, I am a stamina item. So when you use me, I'm going to take you, that you've passed yourself in, and I'm going to modify your stamina.
Mm-hmm.
We can inherit from base food class into, say, apple. And apple maybe doesn't affect stamina. Maybe actor affects health. We can then override this event use for the apple, and the apple be like, no, I'm going to give you health rather than stamina. Or a poison apple, which is I'm going to remove your health, whatever. So we'll go ahead and compile, save that, and now we need to go modify how we're looking for stuff. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to check our static mesh here. It had collision, and it is a collision preset of block all dynamic, and it is a world dynamic. Okay, perfect. That's great. It's of the type world dynamic. Makes sense to me. So we can make that go away, and we'll make that go away, and now we'll go up into our base classes. No, not our base class. Our AI. AS character. And
now we have to have it activate the thing.
Yep. So we can do this in a ton of ways.
Yeah.
We could just invert it. We can just have a use sphere around us. Or we could piggyback on top of the functionality of the behavior tree. So he's moving towards the item that he wants. He knows the item is there.
Yep.
So he could then just, once he gets there, then we could do a single trace to make sure that the item is still there and then use it.
Yep.
Which would just be a whole nother task, which would be pretty awesome. And then we have a reusable am I near object. And that could be used later for stuff like, am I near a door, if I want to open a door or something like that.
That's how I handle most of mine, is that in the behavior tree itself, I have it tell the character to run the function of, all right, now immediately, like, try to get around, like, whatever's around you, try to get it.
Okay.
So that's probably the best way to achieve that.
Okay, so then we are going to need a function. We are definitely going to need a function here.
Yes.
Pardon, an event, just so that we can fire it off, and we'll call it use item in world. And from here, we were going to send an item, a message to use item. And this will take in a target. And for that, we just need a new input. This is going to be an actor. OR.
Yep.
Reference. There we go.
So now we have that generic actor reference that we need.
Yep. And then we'll pass in self. You'll notice that it doesn't have a general, it's not just defaulting to self. And then we'll just name this item to use.
Yeah. And if you're really particular about your, like, is valid checks, here's a good place to put a check for does item implement interface, which I like to do just so in case there's an error, I'll run an error message. And so we'll see, like, yeah, does it have the use interface? If so, use. If not, then we'll get like a noise effect that's like, one of those.
What do we call it?
What? Use is usable.
Oh, there it is.
It's right there.
It has an A in it, and then we have a branch.
Yep. And so now we have a little bit better, like, error detection, and this will be good for debugging later.
Yep. Perfect. No, that's a really good idea, setting this stuff up early. And then...
So when inevitably we do something that fudges it, we'll have a nice print string that says, you fudged the thing.
Item does not come on. Implement interface. What do we call it? Is usable. Is usable. There we go. There we go. So this can be fired off, and the item just simply isn't going to do anything with it if it can't. But it should, and so this should just be nice. Okay, compile.
And now we just have to have the behavior tree tell it to trigger that function. Like in the diagram I said before, the behavior tree dictates when they're going to trigger those functions.
Right. So now that we're kind of going to start overloading this stuff, I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder for tasks, because unfortunately all the icons for tasks, services, and whatnot all look the same. That's why we originally labeled them task services. So just going to go ahead and move this here. Don't forget that when you get closer to the end of your project to clean up your redirectors. And then we'll, I can just actually copy this. We'll call it task use item.
Yeah.
And so task use item. Yeah, not going to be doing this.
Yeah, no more of that.
And we'll actually need to know that we successfully were able to use something, I think.
Yep, because if we fail, then we have to have a different behavior than if we succeed.
Yep. Okay, so we need a key, which is going to be, we'll call it, I think it's called desired item on the blackboard.
I don't remember.
It's desired, but I'm not sure if it's...
We need to make sure we get the name right.
It's desired object.
Desired object.
I like to name these things the same, just that way.
No, yeah,
it's
I'm
really
there with
easy to
you.
be like, oh, for us, this is this blackboard object. Desired. I can spell totally.
OBJECT.
Key. Not Lee. Okay. We're not going to need force success because this will either succeed or fail. We have a controlled pawn. We're going to end up having to cast this to our AIS. Yes, our AIS character. Well, I guess we could implement another interface and just send the pawn, like, if we go look at our character real quick, we just created a
Custom
use
event.
item in world.
Yeah.
So we could create another interface or just piggyback on top of our current interface and be like, yeah, let's just send a message. So actually, let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
That way we...
That actually makes a lot of sense for the kinds of stuff that you normally want to do, where even your basic AI
task,
is...
I want my tasks to be as general as possible. I don't want to have to just, you know, oh, I need to have this other thing now use things, and it's not actually a character. Well, now I have to go rewrite all my tasks.
Yep.
It's like, let's just get that over with.
So yeah, just go in here and instead of use item. Like
Yeah, we'll have, well, I mean, we can create a whole nother interface. It doesn't really matter. Or we can just keep on using this one. I'm just going to keep on using this one for now.
Yeah, I think it's
And
fine.
we'll
We'll
call
just
it,
apply
we'll call
this
it
to the
AI use item.
Yep.
And this is just going to be a simple message fire off. And it does have a pass through of item to use, which is an actor.
And so here's the really super generic thing that this is just more that building off the generic idea of any kind of actor should be able to trigger your AI to do something. So
Compile, save that, and then we need to go implement our interface in here, use.
And there's also no reason you couldn't have the communication go the other way around, where the object is the one saying, hey, you used me and I'm telling you stuff.
Yeah.
There's always 100 different ways you can solve anything. I'm just throwing out there that there's more than just our way.
And then
This is just, of course, the best way because it's our way.
oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. totally the best way. Using interface must have valid target.
Did you add the interface?
I did, but I need a test object, and I was trying to, hold on, let me do this. Control Z, compile, and then double check. Yeah, is usable. And then I called it AI. Come on, where's my event? Event AI use item. And then we just transfer all this stuff over.
Bam.
Control, click that out. Done. Done. Okay. Compile, save that. Now task use item can come in here, and we can send a AI use item message.
You're gonna have to drag off of the controlled pawn.
Am I?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Am I? AI. Oh,
Yeah,
well,
use
whatever.
item. Yeah,
Okay.
because it has to context sensitivity means that it needs to know that there's something it's actually going to be able to apply to.
Yep.
And so in
Get
this case, it needed to
value.
know that there was some sort of actor out there.
Yep. So desired object is an actor. So we're just gonna go ahead and get it as an actor. We'll pass that in.
And we could actually just cook that up to the finish and stop right here, and it would finish up and it would do that. However, it would never run the checks to make sure it's actually like still there. Once it gets to the point, it would just
Mm-hmm.
assume that it's still there and try to use it.
Yep. And so we need another one of those implements. Or what's the interface? Does implement interface. There we go. And the reason being,
Yeah, because if this fails, we need to know that success on the end of the
Right, so we're gonna-
execution is going to fail.
exactly. So we're gonna actually, we don't really even care if the message gets sent. I mean, we could branch it so it doesn't, but actually all I need to do is this.
Mm-hmm.
So if it implements the interface,
And make sure you put the actual interface into the interface chunk, or else it will always fail because we didn't.
Oops.
Yeah, I know. We don't want to skip like the most basic thing and be like, oh, no, we got to spend so much time debugging.
nope, good catch,
Yeah.
because I was gonna forget to do that.
Now, do we want to go ahead and do like the sphere trace to do like a distance check or a line trace to see that now, or do you want to just run it like it is?
We can generalize that, or we could just kind of make sure that
Let's
the
make
thing.
sure it works
Let's just.
right now.
Well, we can just do this. Let's just make sure this thing needs to know that the thing is there for us to use. And so what we can do is I'm going to do an and real quick because we're about to do another test. And from here, we need to know if that's in range.
Mhm.
So we can just simply do, I mean, the functionality is quite literally like, I use you, and it doesn't matter how far away you are. It's like you could
Mhm.
be here, you could be all the way over there. It's like, I used you,
Yeah.
and you've given me stamina. We're now going to manually just simply say, no, there's a range.
Yeah, because with this one, like let's say we had physics turned on, and like your AI comes wandering up to where the apple's supposed to be, and suddenly someone just smacks that apple right out of the way. Well,
Mhm.
he's still going to use the apple, but the apple's like 50 feet in the air, but he still used it because that's what the logic dictates.
Yep.
So now we have the compare vectors.
Yep, we're just going to do
Yay.
a quick, no, not, I need to minus them and then do
Now I just
like.
want to make a game where there's like jerk AI that are just like smacking like the food out of the other AI's hands and stuff. Like, oh, oh.
Oh, we can totally do that.
Yeah, we could totally do that.
We can totally do that. Why aren't we not doing this already? And then from there, we get this length, vector length. We could do squared, but I don't think we're that hurting for performance just yet. And then from here, we're just going to say,
Yeah.
is this less than or equal to some
Mhm.
value? Some value being something that we're going to expose. That way we can modify it later. And we'll call it use range.
I thought you were going to call it some value. I'm like, don't call it that.
Why would I not just call it some value? Oh, that's right, because that's totally
It's a
not
number.
descriptive.
It's fine.
It's fine. It'll be fine. We'll call it use range, and then we'll get. So, not only does our object have to implement the interface for this to succeed, and actually, you know what? We need the branch. Because, or do we? Yes, we need the branch because if this fires, then there's the potential for I'll just do that. There's a problem of being, I mean, I guess we could just freaking, oh man.
Dude, I think you spaghettied it.
I know, I'm working on it.
So we have a reference to things when they get a little out of hand, and it's Blueprint Thulu.
Blueprint through.
Yeah, you just see it like all over, like the support guys especially. Like they'll be like, "Dude, check out this Blueprint Thulu. It's amazing. It totally works though."
Yeah, that's what I like. It's like you go through. It's like, man, if somebody came up with this, and this is how their mind works, that's fantastic. I love it. Okay, so there's that. Connect there. I mean, there's a lot of kind of redundancy built in here. I mean, the logic is that if it's not within range, we don't even bother using it, and then we bypass and we just have it fail out. Since this is an and, the interface bit has to be true, and this has to be true. But really, it should work like this. We should just have it say both of these things have to be true, or it just simply doesn't use it. And then from there, we also feed that into our success. And we're good on that front. We're good on the other front. That way, we never end up with any weirdness or whatnot. And unfortunately, I mean, this is okay, but I'm betting some of you are sitting there going like, well, what if it's behind a wall? It's like, well, you'd be within range, potentially.
Well, we'd have to do a line trace.
We'd have to do a trace, and trace would give us length automatically.
But that's also going to be a little heavier to run a line trace.
Traces are cheap.
I know they're cheap, but
Traces
in my mind, it's like that's ever so slightly less performant than just adding two numbers. Like,
okay, well, if we're doing that, then we do vector length squared, and we make sure that we square our range, right? Like,
oh my gosh, you and the vector math.
so
That's why I love you, Ian. You're full of vector
I'm
math.
full of all the vectors. All right, so we'll go ahead. Well, you know what? We're going to go ahead and do that because it makes sense.
Yeah, why not? We just talked about how it's what we need to do.
Yeah, it's going to just simply be the thing that we need to do. And so we're going to do a line trace by
Probably collision channel. Yeah.
We'll do it by channel. And let's go ahead and look at this. We can do it by locations, which is fine. Something we're going to need to do right off the bat, we're going to need actors to ignore. So let's make an array.
Mm-hmm.
Because unfortunately, this trace will ignore the task. If you say ignore self, yeah, that's kind of useless. Yeah, I'm totally not going to make sure the task gets traced. Well, whatever. Visibility, yeah, that'll work.
Mm-hmm.
We can do this from each other's location. The end location is definitely going to be like so.
Yeah.
And then
you want to do the pawn's location, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? It's his waist,
Yeah.
but that works.
I mean, we could add an offset to it if it would make you feel any better, but
no,
I
not
mean,
really.
I don't know. Kind of works.
No, it works. I mean, it's
He won't be able to
Like-
see over like
like,
chest high
it's-
walls for
it's-
some reason. That'll be kind of funny. It's like this chest high wall. I can't see past it.
well, I mean, arguably you may not be able to because you might be, trying to look through a weird angle or something. It's like I can look over this 1 inch wide chest high wall.
Oh yeah.
And like we're done. Okay, and so now we got our start location, impact point, normal, all that goodness. So if our hit actor is equal to our key,
Mm-hmm.
then we allow this to continue. Right?
So smart.
Or pardon. Branch. So this is the thing that we want. That could mean that a dude gets there and he's in front of you, but he's within range, and it's like you trace through him, and it's like, nope, sorry. The first thing returned, because we're just doing a single line trace by channel, is the other dude. And it's just like, oh, well, I guess I can't pick up that thing. But maybe that guy's just in the way? That could create some issues, but then we can solve that by, shuffling the dude around. Okay, so we have a successful trace. We need to still know our distance. So we will have, we can actually just go ahead and keep this, tell you the truth. And we will stop on trace. I mean, arguably, just do this. Bloop. Bloop. Get a little blueprint Cthulhu going on here. Like so. So we go into the trace. We trace whether or not I can see it or not. Defines whether or not I even go ahead and do the vector math to figure out if I'm within range. I really don't care, because the move 2 is going to get me theoretically close enough. And then
Yeah, as long as there's no wild cards happening, it should be fine.
Yep, it should be fine, and we just make sure that we give it enough wiggle room. So I can clean this up, or we can just be like, good enough for government work, and move on. So for anybody, we'll just step back through it really quick. Execute AI comes in. We say, hey, is the thing that we want actually something that we could acquire? Is there something in the way of me getting it? And if the hit result of what we trace out to is equal to the object we're getting from our key, then we just continue on. Then we ask, okay, does that thing implement the interface, and is it within our usable range? If so, we fire off a message to say, I'm using you, dude.
Mm-hmm.
If not, we come back out and we fail out. And at this point, we can just simply say, hey, if trace fails, so that we don't jam out, boom, there we go. You can have as many finish executes as you want just at the end of everything. You just need to make sure that if you hit the end of something, you do this.
So it's going to succeed if it goes that route?
Oh, pardon. No,
Yeah,
it needs to fail.
that's what
Good
I thought.
call.
Yeah.
Good call.
That's why they keep me around.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we could plug this into this and, right? But we don't want to have to do the math if we don't have to. So let's not. And you can stagger stuff like that to try to gain, performance on checks like this. More than likely, this is going to fire off every time. And in fact, for our situation, it's going to fire off every time. So save. Then we go back to not our blackboard. We don't need the blackboard. We need our AI. We need our actual behavior tree. Okay, now that we have our behavior tree, our AI move to acceptable radius is going to be 5. Let's go ahead and boost that. 5 seems a little low.
Yeah, we're not doing overlap anymore, so going ahead and make that.
Half meter, full meter?
Yeah.
100 units?
Yeah, go 100.
We'll go 100 units.
I tend to make my AI a little lazy. They get close
A
enough.
little lazy.
They get close enough.
Whatever.
It's almost safe to have lazier and stupider AI.
Well, yeah, I mean, because they'll at least get done what they need to get done.
Yeah.
Okay, and then our use item, our desired object, will be desired object, and our use range, just so we have a
clearly
little
it
bit
has
to work with,
Yeah. Like,
we can make it equal, but I'm going to make it 110,
whoa.
and there's a reason. Actually, I'm going to make it 150.
Oh, okay.
The reason being is that our trace points for our character and the barrel, one's located at his waist, the other one's located at the floor. We didn't null out Z, because we really want to be able to say, like, can I see that thing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we should be doing from the head down, but whatever. But in that case, we need to make sure that we can account for the angle there. Okay. Now, unless somebody on chat is like, dude, you missed the key thing, I think this will work.
Yeah. Drew, which is spelled with like 5 or 6 O's, has pointed out that the first check in that task, if it fails, then it won't execute the second, so we could just plug it straight into the finish. That is true.
Well, hold on.
If you back it up a little.
Yeah, if we in here.
Yeah, if you make it so I can see a little bit more, maybe full screen it. Yeah, so it's like that first branch.
Well, yeah, if the first branch
Oh,
fails,
yeah.
we plugged it into a whole new finish. I'm sorry. I understand that sometimes this stuff isn't completely viewable on Twitch. We are plugging it into another finish execute. We could plug it in up here, but that's taking information that would have to then evaluate from the vector math that we're doing over here. So instead, we're just saying, hey, if this is not the object we're looking for, we simply fail. And then if we succeed at finding the thing, then we go ahead and say, hey, does it implement the interface? And hey, is it within range? We just do those both at the same time. And then if this branch succeeds, we send the message, and then we finish execute based off of the same outcome that allowed us in here. That way, this could fail, and we don't have to have another weird true-false branch, whatever. It's fine. This is...
Zoom out a little.
Zoom out to where?
I just want to look at it. All right.
It's terrible.
No, yeah, it was just a little crossover. Yeah, okay.
I mean, I'm not going to spend the next 5 minutes cleaning this up, guys. Let's...
No. No, it's all in there.
Prototype code,
I think
move
there was
on.
just like a lot of complications, so it's like, what?
Oh, one
Like,
thing we're
what's
going to do
that?
before this runs is I'm going to turn on for duration for debug on the trace.
So we can at least see the little
Yeah,
line pop up. Make sure it's actually doing it.
Yeah, it makes it a little easier just to make sure that something's happening. Okay, so our dude's starving to death. He has decided... Oh, yep. Uh-oh.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Something went wrong.
Something went wrong.
It's okay.
He's attempting to move to his desired object.
But something is failing in the next thing. So let's pause it
Okay,
and then
let's
see
pause
if
it.
it is, in fact, it's that task that's failing, I bet you.
Well, no. It's this task. Move to desired object.
Can he not get within the 100-point range?
I thought he was.
Make it 200 and see what happens.
Yeah, that probably sounds like the best idea. So this should probably be 200, and this should probably be 250.
What should be that error log's going to tell us exactly what it was?
We don't have an error log for it.
It just showed up and it vanished.
That's probably telling us access nuns.
Ah.
Developer tools. I believe it is the output log in this case. Yeah, we have some access nuns. Access none, value as actor, return value in task use item. We're getting an access none and use item. Why would we get an access none? This should only run once. I don't know. We'll come back to that. We'll handle access nuns later.
Mm-hmm.
They're spammy in the log, but ultimately, if you don't log them, they kind of just exist. All right, so we have a range of 200 now.
There he goes. It was the range.
Yeah,
Boop, boop.
He's now obliterating these things.
Yeah, he's such a drunk. Look at him go.
He's like, oh man, these things don't fill me up that much. Oh jeez, I'm so hurting. Oh, maybe I could starve to death less. Maybe, but then it wouldn't be fun to test you. All right, so we have him. It's now, yeah, and this is just going to show us that. Yep, bunch of access nuns. For every barrel, it looks like we're getting. Yeah, that's not useful. Controlled pawn, item to use. Yeah, that should be fine. And sometimes these access nuns are because of what's beyond them. Yeah, whatever. We'll handle those. Yeah, I mean, easiest way to handle access nuns is valid.
Oh, doing it.
We have tons of branches for it. There's a branch that is valid and it has a branch built in, so we can handle that at a later date. Currently, it's not terrible. Okay, so we have our AI. We've genericized. Is that a word?
I think genericized is a word.
Can we make that a word?
I mean,
we could Google that real quick. Okay,
we'll add it into the. We'll just. You can write a doc page for it.
Oh, I'll walk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a doc page. We genericized. What is genericizing? It's not like jazzercise.
It's funny. I was just thinking about jazzercise. I forgot
Jazzercise.
about jazzercise.
Okay, so we're interfacing in. We're interfacing back out. Now, whenever we create a new item, save everything. Don't forget to save everything. We will have a generic use for it. Use for it, but not use. So if we go back into base classes, this is our base food class. This one is saying stamina. We could take this one slight step further, but it would involve making a decision about how all of our items simply affect a float, or we create multiple events based off of is bool event, is float event, or something along those lines, like use float, use bool.
Mm-hmm.
Because then we could, instead of saying, hey, item, I'm going to mess with your stamina, right? Like what we're doing here. No, I think this is fine. I was thinking we could do a pass by ref thing where then.
I mean, you were all about that pass by ref.
Yeah.
Like you saw it in there earlier, and you're like,
I was like,
ooh.
oh no, I was like, I have an idea, but no. Now that I'm laying it out, if I were to build it, I think it would just be much more complicated. I mean, maybe go talk to the AI guys and be like, am I crazy? And they'll be like, yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you're doing everything in Blueprint for first. You know, you're automatically a nut.
Mieszko would just immediately be
yeah,
like, no,
it's like,
no.
Well, yeah, he's like, respect, but you're crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think now that the use item thing works just fine. So let's create a quick variation on that, make sure everything works, and then we'll create a second variation that then implements hurt. And he will always go for all the things, but then we can work back into the AI for hopefully answer the question of the guys like, how do I exclude items from things like, I don't want this item. You know, I'm getting all the usable items, great, but I don't want the poison apples. But I can't limit it to just apples, because if you do that, then what about steak, right? Okay. So let's create a new, we're going to create a child. And we're going to call, I don't know, we don't really have a lot of food items as meshes. But I do know we have plants.
Isn't there a candy? No, that's a weapon pack. I didn't get that. There's like a candy cane or something.
We will call this plant food item. Because I know we got plants.
Okie doke.
So open this up. Oh, that's another thing. We can go back into the base food class. We no longer need the sphere. Bloop.
Oh, that is true.
We no longer need that. And our sphere's gone there.
And now we swap out the mesh.
Yep. And I'm just going to locate where that thing is.
Alrighty.
And let's find, anybody remember where that was? I think it's in plains.
Yeah, it's going to be plains, and then in there, I think it's terrain. Plains terrain, maybe? You see the folder?
Well, yeah, I'm just filtering by static meshes, so I'm seeing everything.
I see. Oh, there
There's
you
a
go.
plant, whatever.
That looks like that green fern from Resident Evil that heals you.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
perfect.
it's an herb?
Yes, an herb.
All right, so we've got
Okay,
some sort
so
of
there's that.
magic plant thing.
Okay, sorry, off screen. Oh, it's got a shader going on. It's all wavy.
Oh, wow, it is very wiggly.
Fancy. Okay, so we don't need that one. So this will be our healing. Hold on, one sec. No, hold on, no collision.
No, I need to have a collision.
Well, that's okay.
Because if we're going to take out that Sophia.
Oop, I'm just being silly. Yep, that's fine. Well, this is a plant food item, and this item can have its
we could
own
just
collision.
go in static mesh editor and say give it a.
If I do that, then all of them will. But we don't. If we wanted to use these as a ground cover later, actually, no, you're right.
Because if you're using this foliage.
Yeah, okay, guys. We're just gonna break it.
We're not using them as foliage, you know.
Fine.
Yeah. Whoa. That's a lot of.
I'm gonna give it super complex. Okay, fine.
Just cube it. Just a cube is fine.
Fine. You're no fun.
Yeah.
Add simplified.
Was it the 20 DOF?
Yeah, the 26 DOF.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
DOP. Pardon.
DOP. Sorry.
Yeah, 26 DOP. All right. Fine. Our plant food item now has collision, and in our event graph, we shouldn't have to do anything. File.
No,
save.
it'll just immediately inherit the parent stuff. And if we want to change it, we just do an override.
Yep.
So.
And we'll place some plants out into the world. Hello, plants. Look, this dude's going to survive for so much longer now. And I am going to... The plants are going to be worth more. This is just a happening. Set. Stam. Restore in this case. These are going to be they're going to be straight 100. There we go. Compile, save. And now when this dude goes out, probably going to choose the barrel first, but the barrel's not very satisfying because, you know, wood, right? Uh-oh. We want it, but we can't have it.
Oh, the collision's too big.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't even see the trace.
I don't know. I think he's hitting the thing and he can't reach it because the collision's too big.
Wait.
And he can't get close enough to the root.
Well, no, this thing should just same.
Mm-hmm.
But 200? You think that's...
Yeah, I think
Hold
it's
on.
from the root. Because that's what it's going off of, is the root of the thing that you're trying to get to.
Right, from... I find this very hard to believe. Because this is a 100 unit cube. This is 200 units.
Maybe I'm just crazy.
Actually, I know.
Wait, did you drag a static mesh into the world instead of the actual blueprint?
I don't know what you're talking about, but absolutely yes.
Oh my god.
Absolutely yes.
You're the most pro.
Who caught that in the stream?
Uh, nope. I don't think anybody caught it.
Well,
We all failed.
come on, guys.
Yeah.
We're a team here. Like, why is he dragging static meshes into the world?
That would do it.
This guy's teaching us? Oh, jeez.
There we go.
Okay. Barrel, plant, yep.
He's going for
And
something else.
our stam is really huge. Nope.
Yeah.
Whoa.
He's still
Whoa.
hitting
Why are
him.
you still hungry, dude?
He's dropping constantly.
Like,
Where's he going?
he decided against it.
Oh, there he goes.
Yeah, remember he'll abort out of wherever he's moving to.
Right.
And he's just like, nope, I need that thing now.
Where'd he
Oh,
go?
where'd he go? There he is.
Oh, he almost died.
We really need a. Would you guys mind if I created a little health interface for him, like
Yeah, like a
off
little
stream,
Bar.
off stream, so that we can see his stamina.
I don't think they'd mind if we just. I know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be like a little flat
It's gonna
mesh.
It's gonna be a
or
little health,
something, and then it's just
thing.
scale down as it goes down.
Yeah, we'll just UMG. Oh, he's run out of food.
I'm
and now
sure
he'll-
Wes has done 50 tutorials on how to do a health bar.
Yes, he
so-
has.
So we can just skip over doing that. But I totally
Okay,
agree.
so
Just printing the string is gonna get cray.
next stream we'll actually have a health and stamina bar for this guy, and various other stat readouts that we may or may not want. Okay, so that's great. We have a food item, and the plant food item is different, but it's the same. And stamina restore is working. He's finding it correctly. Now we want an object that will kill him.
Oh, actually, we're getting requests to do the health bar. We're getting a lot.
Hold on, guys. It's 3, and
Might have to-
we're actually only scheduled for 3:30.
So we might have to do it next time.
I could import it. I have the setup already done in
That's not gonna help him.
turn-based strategy.
Do it another time.
All right, we'll build it live, but we'll build it live next time.
Yeah,
Does that work? I mean, it's not technically. Well, we
Oh,
talked
now
about this.
they're gonna tar and feather you apparently. No, I'm just kidding.
Jeez.
I'm just kidding.
Jeez.
Just kidding.
So it gets into the fact that it's not technically AI, but it is. I mean, we're building game-ready AI, and we need to have the tools to debug what we need to debug.
Yeah.
So, and this is going from start to finish, so it makes sense to dip slightly into there.
We'll just do it really, really
And
quick.
I think, well, for what I'm about to do, we're going to have no feedback other than he explodes. So it makes sense that come next time that, we actually go ahead and we do that. So we'll create an item that hurts you now, and it's just going to straight up hurt you, kill you dead, and then we'll modify the EQS right now, and then next time we'll be like, well, it's really hard to tell what's going on, so let's get some stat readout, and we'll go ahead and get a stat readout, and we'll create keys and whatever, and then whatever time left we have next time.
We got a plan.
Got a plan.
Got a
Sound
plan.
good? All right. I can't hear you, but I'm assuming that 20 seconds from now you'll be saying yes. So let's go ahead and let's create our killer item. We'll call it bad food item. Or just hit enter and not do what I want. Bad food item. And notice how the barrel is a good food item. Let's go ahead and go.
Are you looking for another?
Yeah, I'm looking for another item to
An entire castle.
an entire. I don't think we have one of those.
It's the Infinity Blade pack. It's got some chunks of castle. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, how about we just do a weeping angel?
Yeah, those aren't terrifying. Are you just gonna put the static mesh in there?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
for storage because I forgot to, and to see how freaking large it is.
It's kind of
Jeez.
large.
And then we go into base classes really quick, and bad food item, and then from here I've just opened it up on the other screen. I know you guys can't see that, just so that I could loop back around. And so bad food item, yeah, we're gonna do. Not only are we gonna do stam restore, like negative 100. We'll also we're gonna set up a new overlap, or pardon, a new interaction we're going to override. And then we need to change our static mesh. Let's go to viewport. I already have it selected in the content browser, so I'm just going to drop it in. And then we're going to scale it down. We're going to start at half. delete this. Don't drag in a whole bunch more. Base classes. Bad food item. Okay, here's our bad food item.
Mm-hmm.
And so our bad food items go in there. So it'll be somewhere reasonable. And oh, here's what we needed to do. I'm being silly. We actually wanted to give you full stamina. It is a food item. It's going to fill you up. However, it's going to also murder you. So we need that message. Can I override? Is that going to be listed here? Yep. Is it use item? Hold on. Brain. How is this set up? No, yeah, it's just use item. So we're going to need to override use item. So it's going to drop it in there. But if we look at bad food item, or good food item, this functionality is actually okay. We want this. We're going to want it later, so we're going to go ahead and right-click on here and add call to parent function. And we'll connect that up here in a sec. But also what we want to do is we want to hurt our dude. And we're just going to straight up kill him. So let's go look at what we did previously. I think we just hooked it into on hit or something like that.
Mm-hmm. And we have that damage event. The actual apply damage.
Yep, event any damage. So we're just going to apply damage to him, and he starts with a 100 health. So we're going to straight up just kill him. Which makes this kind of redundant in a way, but we need a test case. So this wouldn't normally just straight kill him. We'd do like 10 health.
Mm-hmm.
But since we have no readout for health, what can we do?
Add a float variable.
We could print out something else.
That's true.
Damage. We're going to apply damage. And yeah, I mean, sure, we're going to want to variable out, damage to apply.
Mm-hmm. And now this is important so that you can have various levels of pain. So you have something that hurts him very hard or little.
And we'll go ahead and expose it. That way we could have multiple out in the field and do things to it. By default, we're going to set it to 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
No big deal. That's just so that we don't have everything straight murder our guy. Excuse him. And we need a self, and I will be the causer. And then we don't need a damage type just yet because we're not doing anything with it. Plug that in. Plug that in. So now when this item is used, it will now hurt our guy, but also then carry out everything else it was doing, including destroying itself and healing stamina. Now to test it though, we are going to have our creepy weeping angel food item. It is apparently the biggest cake ever. We're just going to have this straight up kill our guy. What?
You say that. I'm sure some fan of Doctor Who has already totally made a weeping angels cake. I'm sure that's happened.
Kind of awesome.
I'll go check Reddit after this. I'm sure it's on the front page.
Okay, that's fair. We will have this just do 150 damage. You can't heal more than 100, but we want our guy super dead. Compile.
Now we have to create an overkill counter. It's overkill 50.
And now we just wait. Okay, apparently those things aren't blocking navigation. We should look into that. Because that's exactly what's going on there.
Oh, we'll hit nav and let's take a looky see.
What is it, P?
You can't do it.
No, I have to do.
Playing. You got to actually hit the
hold
commands.
on. No, I can. And then 0.
There you go.
And you're dead.
Oof. You chose poorly.
You chose very poorly. All right. So that works. We now have a negative food item. And if we hit P, yeah, okay. Our spheres that we added to those, or the collision that we added to these, why would they not? It's because the default. Oh, wait. Yeah. It's because let's open up our plant food item. I'm just opening this up real quick so I can get access to the static mesh quickly.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait, I want to do it in here if I can. Nav. Now it already is always affecting navigation. Okay, well, then we just come in here. And we need to look for nav, because it probably is turned off. No? Has navigation data. Why? I don't want it to be dynamic obstacle.
Go into the actual blueprint again. Let's look at the object real fast and make sure it has.
Well, it's the same object, right?
Yeah, but
It's the same static mesh and everything.
Is it the barrel? Oh. I actually think that it's probably got the. Wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on. Okay, it's got collision.
Yeah,
they
it's got
both have collision.
Go check the channels. Make sure it's.
It's the same.
It is?
It's the same across the board.
Hold
on.
What did we do stupid?
Probably a lot of things. Because that's how we roll. I'm looking up the barrel now.
Bring that over.
Yep.
Let's see.
And if I do nav. Nope. That is that. I mean, the only difference is, I think, yeah, that's just selected. Right? Like. Area class is none. That's very odd. Because that's the whole point of doing this thing the way we're doing it.
And the angel totally worked.
Yeah, angels.
So clearly.
It's got to be something with the mesh.
Yeah, it's got to be something with that particular mesh. Somehow we did a thing. And.
Well, okay, so we added collision. OOB. I'm not going to turn on his dynamic obstacle because then we just have to regenerate everything. And
customized collision.
What does that do? No? Maybe? What the hell?
I don't know what we did. Because that should totally be it.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's add Ian's completely ridiculous KDOP.
All right, we're putting in the crazy DOP.
Nope.
What in the world? This is our fault.
Anybody out there in chat land?
Does the barrel still have the sphere and blueprint? No, it does not.
No, everything lost the sphere.
No, everything lost the sphere. Go into the parent.
Yeah.
That looks like it, maybe.
Well, here's plant food.
Yeah. Get rid of the thing that says nav. So
yeah, I was just seeing if there's anything else that might affect navigation.
Scroll down a little, go down to collision. Collision, block all dynamic.
Yep. Which is collision, query, and physics, world dynamic. Everything is set to block. And rendering, well, it can ever affect navigation is true, so this will totally affect navigation.
Yeah, check if, yeah. What did we do? Delete system 32. Oh, that'll totally solve it.
Got it, on it.
That's totally the solve. Try block all static? I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, that's the thing. Like, the collision shouldn't, I mean, this is exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's just...
It's that one mesh. Try changing out the mesh. I'm gonna go with fluke of weird.
Okay, that's fine. We won't use a... over on the other screen, I'm just actually getting to the point where I can change the other mesh, and we'll just select something else. Sure, crate. Well, sure, we'll eat crates. Because that makes sense.
Crates. That worked.
Whatever.
I could not tell you what was wrong with that mesh, but it did not like that mesh.
I will dig on that later, because that is odd. Okay. Whatever you want to do, little dude. So our crates are good. Our barrels are good. So this dude eats wood.
There's no jokes to be made there.
Are there? Are there no jokes to be made there, Alexander? And
there he goes.
yeah, he's just munching away. It's funny. It's interesting that he's always ending up like close to a barrel.
This is kind of how you let him out.
Oh, okay.
He chose poorly.
Okay. So we can have this now just injure him slightly less. We'll just have it take 50%, 50 of his health off. Because as he's running around, he's going, ow, 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 ow. He's getting hurt. We did add in a heal function. So if his stamina is maxed or above a certain amount, he's healing. But that's that. Okay. So now we need to not pick up something that will kill us until it is absolutely the only thing left. We're going to jump into the EQS for this. How do we choose not to use an object within an EQS query? Is our testing pawn still out there? Our testing spawn is still out here. Our pawn is still out here. And it is still choosing all the things, but only the barrels. Let's move it. Okay, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
So our Weeping Angel is current. It's really hard to see because it's in the bottom of it. I think I can offset these. You know what? Show me your tab. And go away. Just like reduct. No. Okay, you're done. You are just go away. I'm lying to myself here. Okay, so EQS. Is there an offset here? Draw offset? No, there's not. Okay, whatever. Not a big deal. We'll put an offset in the actual query. So here's our query. It is getting all base food class. Okay? And we're going to want to limit, but not remove, objects of another type. So we're going to need a context, because if we want everything to be included in here, we're going to need to be able to limit that. I mean, we could just say query type, the base food class instead, only the good food class, but then that limits us to only either crates or barrels. We want to be able to include both crates and barrels.
Yeah.
We could have a good food class and a bad food class, but then you're never picking up the bad food class. But the whole point of having a bad food class is so that you can do that. We could do this in the behavior trees where we have two different EQSs, one that does good food, bad food, and we only choose bad food if only no good food is available. Or, since somebody asked how do we do it within this case, let's go ahead and let's just straight up answer that. I'm going to create a new context. So I'm creating a new blueprint. You can look for context. It is environment query context blueprint base. Select, and we're going to call this bad food context. And going to double click that, open it up. At this point, we don't need that. Oh, really? It's because I didn't save? And that probably did it. Whatever. Yeah, go ahead and save. I don't care. Okay, so our bad food context. So we need to override provide actor set. So this is going to return to us all of our bad food actors. Currently, this is going to be really, I'm going to say this, you probably don't want to do this way. You probably want these cached somewhere. But since we never know what's going to be available on the field, we'll just go ahead and do it here. We're going to get all actors of class. And we're going to do bad food item. And we're just going to feed that directly back out. So super, super, super simple context. I mean,
I love get all actors of class. It's like the lazy man's way of being like, all of you.
Yeah, I mean, and we could come up with, so maybe all bad food items inherit from bad from this one.
And then that way you'll always get all the children.
It's always
as well.
this is always like these are always negative effect bad foods, and that works from there. Which then bad food just inherits from the base class. So then you get all the use functionality that comes along with it. Now, how can we reduce the value of a bad food item? So we're basically just saying, hey, get closest. But we're going to want to add a test of, I don't know, we could do, I think, any of these really, because we just want to downweight something. So we don't want to do distance to. We will do distance to our context, our bad food context. So this is doing item to context. Okay? So our context. Ooh, this is where it gets weird.
Yeah, it is getting a little freaky.
Distance isn't going to work in this case, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, no, because of the item thing. Oh, I don't like doing it this way. Yeah, I'm going to throw this out the window. Because now it works if there is only one bad food item. If there are two, then it starts to break down because we're going to be dealing with all of them.
I mean,
because the context is the distance to is run on a per item. You're already feeding yourself in as an item.
Couldn't we kind of do this the other way around, where we just make the context be like a good food item, and then it only cares about good food items and tries to ignore
but
the
then we
others?
only have good food items.
Food items, yeah.
We never go for bad.
Yeah.
In which case we do it in the behavior tree. So in this case, I'm saying this is bad. I'm literally saying that doing it in this fashion is bad. So we're not going to do this. What we are going to do is we're going to, instead of looking for a base food class, well, has anybody ever tried re-inheriting? Because that's what we're going to do.
Oh boy.
We need a new food. It's going to be a direct copy. And this is just going to call good food class. And now good food class, plant food is going, plant food item. I'm sorry, that's just funny to me. We're going to crack that open. And we are just going to re-inherit. Reparent blueprint, and we're going to do it from good food class. Yup, just do it. And since they're the same, nothing has happened except now we have our ability to say, hey, this thing is now only going to search for good food class. We're going to save that. And then tasks, where's our query? It's in AI. So a query, we're going to call this, actually we're going to rename this find good food. We're going to break that out. And we're going to call this one.
It's a redirector.
That's not useful.
Are you trying to copy it?
I was trying to copy it. Can I duplicate? Oh, because it no longer exists. Okay, remember to hit enter after renaming something before you attempt to duplicate it. Or don't be quick about it.
Yeah, order of operations matters.
Yes, so we'll call this one settle for bad food.
There we go.
And now bad food, all we're going to do is generator, we're going to look for bad food items. Okay? Same everything else, but one finds good, one finds bad, and then we have our behavior tree.
And the behavior tree makes the decision.
Yep.
Are we looking for good or bad?
So in this case,
now we need to duplicate the whole right chunk, basically.
well, no, we don't.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
We just do a selector.
You're right.
So selector is going to say, if I can find a good, I will take a good. If cannot, then I will take a bad. And find good food, settle for bad, return single best item, just like before. Now he will only go after the bad food if it cannot find a good food. That doesn't mean that if only bad food is available, because remember, our search radius is only 3,000 units.
So it's within that 3,000 units. If there is no good food available, then he will try finding bad food.
Yep.
And if that fails, he'll go back to wandering to hopefully put something.
No,
within that
actually,
radius
we
again.
jammed that out.
Did we jam that out?
Yeah. If you see, that's why he stops moving.
Oh.
If
Well, eventually we will unjam that.
he'll unjam that and be like, well, I guess I better go find food, and we'll have him do more of an active search pattern around the way. But unfortunately, his world is very small and only filled with so much food, and his life is very, very short. So we're gonna go get good food. Wait a minute. Uh-oh. I can't tell the difference between them. Yeah, we are reparenting. I forgot to change the mesh, I guess. Yeah, see how he was actually technically closer. Yep. See, he was close to that, and he's like, no, don't want to do that.
Because they're still good in the area.
Yep.
So
I mean, if we come down here. Yeah. Oh,
he took it.
he could not. Uh-oh. Why are we not? There's still food on the field. Oh, because it's base food.
It's not under the good food.
It's not a good food.
Because the context is good food. We did a smart.
Well, it's not that we did a smarter, good or bad or indifferent. It's just that simply that
We've made him decide on
We-
things a bit differently than we intended.
normal, everyday food is no longer acceptable, man. I need only the good foods. He got a little too picky.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, it's almost 3:30 here. I think this is a really good stopping point. I know we did a lot of finagly. Probably some people will be like, this is not AI stuff. But really, we made it incredibly generic. We
Yes.
now have the ability to find an item and just simply use it. And that could be, I want you guys to think about that. Like, that
it can be a door. It doesn't have to be food. It can be it can be picking up a weapon or doing literally anything.
Yes.
Now he has the using capabilities for any actor that we put together.
now, and how that acts just
Mhm.
depends on how we make it act from that point forward.
We define it within the actor. So we say, hey, he uses things. And from the AI's perspective, all he's doing is going around and using stuff. But from the actor's perspective, it has a very specific meaning when it gets used.
Yep. So I pick up the axe and, no, in my head.
No AIs were harmed in the making of the stream. Actually, we hurt that guy a lot.
I think he died 3 or 4 times.
I mean, that was after the starvation and, you
Maybe
know.
we played Soma. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where we're going with this. That
getting-
poor guy.
It's getting really dark.
It's getting real dark. But next time, like we said, we'll do some interface stuff so that we can actually get usable feedback.
And we'll put it in a little health bar so that
A
we
little
don't
help.
have to use
Well,
the print
actually,
strings all the time.
I would like to. We're going to be using UMG, and I know enough about it so that we can actually create a. What we should do is create a struct for his values,
Yes.
and then just cycle through the
Keep
struct.
feeding that in.
Yeah, if we can cycle through the struct at that point, because they'll got added in 4.8, right? Like the ability to loop through a struct values.
I'm not familiar enough with structs
Ooh,
personally.
I'll have to look that up. I think
We
that
will
got
find out.
because then what we could do is we could just have a struct and we just keep on dumping data into the struct, and then we could have a big long debug, because we're just looping through adding a widget for each value.
Oh, that's true.
And then it's like-
And then your stat list just becomes huge, and so you scroll
Yeah.
over him. He's like,
Yeah, and then we'll add the selection feature for our guy because we
Yeah.
added, like the first time you saw I had left click, right click functionality. Like
so we have
we
the
select our
basics in
dude,
there.
and then here's all of his values, right?
Mhm.
Because especially if we have that ability, then we should use that ability, even if it gets a little hinky. I'll prototype that and make sure that we can do that. If not, we'll keep it simple enough that we can just keep on adding
Mhm.
values for those. But I think that's what we're going to call it. And thanks, guys, for sticking with us. And we are back in 2 weeks.
Should be 2 weeks.
I think we're back in 2 weeks, and then we have 2, and then Thanksgiving hits, and then
Yeah, Thanksgiving's just
Wes,
nothing happens.
Wes
around here.
and Sam should be on
Should-
next time.
Should and they're
They're on the
never
schedule.
100%, but it's scheduled.
They are scheduled to be on next time. So
Mm-hmm.
well, they'll see you next time, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. All right, guys,
See you guys.
take it easy.